Have you guys ever had a problem so big that you felt like the world was on your shoulders? Have you ever felt like your anxiety was so bad to the point of kingdom come? Have you guys ever just had a problem that you just couldn't get rid of? Or you had you were anxious about something or you didn't want to do something so you put it off for a long time? Let me tell you a quick story. I work in retail, and every time I tried to fight a problem, it just got worse, and the people there got worse, and I made the problem worse by trying to fight it. The only thing, the only way to shrink a problem is to sometimes walk away from it and come back at it with a different perspective. So the way that that works is you have to just pull back from a situation sometimes. Have you ever wondered why people told you or why you're in a relationship and people are like, "Oh, you need to, just take a break. You need some space." Just so you can get perspective on the problem that you have or the situation that's at play. For example, if your girlfriend or your boyfriend is like, "Hey, I don't think it's working out. You're a little bit too clingy to me. I think we need some space." And then you guys take some space apart, and then he's like, "Oh no, wait, I actually like that clinginess." And then the girl comes back, boom. You just solved the problem because you did not actually face the problem head on. You actually backed away from it a bit, gave it some space, let it shrink itself, and when you come back to it, boom, one hit, boom, lasered, done. That's it. And now you took care of the problem because you gave it or you starved the problem and you gave it no energy to actually survive. Now, that doesn't work all the time. There could be another scenario where you do that and you're like, okay, well, I don't actually like the clinginess at all, so I'm gonna leave her, and then she's gone, and then you break up. But regardless, if you actually tackle the problem head on or you leave it alone, if you tackle it head on, it's going to just keep on getting worse and worse and worse. Have you ever had a conversation with your significant other or girlfriend, boyfriend, friends, family, brother, sister, doesn't matter? And in the moment, oh, you just want to bash their head in sometimes. You just really want to, beat them up, or you really want to hurt them. And then you kind of step away a little bit and then you're like, I don't want to hurt them. That is just an angry way of thinking. You pulled yourself out of that conversation. That's why a lot of people, when they get super mad, they just walk away. You don't actually want to do that. You're just getting so caught up in the conversation that you cannot think clearly. Your mind just gets twisted. And then you can't use your words, you forget what you're trying to say, you get so fed up that you just want to punch something, or you just want to rely or revolve on abuse or violence or whatever you want to call it. And that's why some people step away and they just walk away. Give it 10 seconds, come back. Give it 10 minutes, come back. Give it 10 hours, come back. Give it 10 days, come back. It's that simple. You just have to walk away, because the more and more you try to solve a problem, the more and more worse it becomes. When you try to keep on solving that problem. And now you might say, "Oh, what are you talking about? If you leave the problem alone, it just gets worse anyway. If you don't pick up the pieces and keep putting it back together." Okay. What about learning? Let's take learning into consideration. How do you learn? Let's just say how to draw or something. You first have to draw the circle. It's like, okay, but I'm terrible at drawing circles and I suck at this. So what do? I will leave it alone for today, sleep on it, and come back. And oh, what's that? You're drawing the circle better because you've slept on it. You've retained the information. The information got processed in your head, and then you came back better. That's like saying you go to the gym and you work out there for 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, 24 hours a day, 24/7. All you're going to do is make the problem worse. What you have to do is work out, rest, recover. That's how it is. Get stronger. That's how it is. Problems will go away by themselves if you just back away from them. It's not actually a problem. You just have a problem with it. Now, when you leave a problem alone, you can't leave it alone for too long because then it's not going to be a problem at all and you're not going to even care about it. Have you ever had a friend or a family member that you didn't really want to be like intimate with because they thought that that was gay, and then you thought you were going to be like really embarrassed? It's like, oh, I can't tell them that I like I love you, brother. You can't say that shit because that's that's weird. If you I promise you, if you walk away, if you go travel somewhere for like 30 days, 60 days, and you come back, I bet you're going to be like, I love you, brother, so much. Because that's just how it is. You made a, whatchamacallit, it's just like promises. You made a promise. You're the one who made all of these rules, all of these bonds, all these oaths. It's all you who does that. You don't actually, or you are not obligated to do anything. You don't have to say anything. Life is just passive. You could literally do nothing and you could just rot away if you wanted to. But of course, that's not what we want to do. But my point is, every time you tackle a problem, sometimes you just have to let it alone. Leave it alone for a little bit. Make sure you're doing other things, tackling other problems that you've left alone for a bit. If you leave it alone for too long, I don't think you'll be very interested in it. But when you come back to it, the problem might shrink and you can overcome it. So I would recommend just taking a breather, giving it a bit of space. And that plays a big role in anything that you do. You don't know how to read. You come back, you read, you suck, you come back to it, you sleep on it, you come back to it, and you know how to read just a little bit more. You don't know how to do a pull-up. You do it, you're like, oh man, I suck. You leave, you sleep on it, you come back, you do that for several days in a row, and you finally achieve the pull-up. You don't know how to build something. You gotta go to it, leave it, sleep on it, come back, and then you know how to do it just a little bit more. Life is all about slow progress. It's not really about, oh, I can like do it in one day, and then all the rest of the 6 days I can rest all the rest of the 6. You can't do that. God made everything in 6 days, and then the 7th he rested. It's really important that you have downtime. If you don't have downtime, you can't process. People are meant to process things. People are meant to have downtime. People are meant to have rest. You need rest or you cannot recover. So make sure, if you're in a relationship, make sure you take some time apart just to know that you actually love or like, or you actually just want to be in that relationship. Because if you take the time apart, you come back and you're like, oh, I don't actually want to be in this relationship. Good. You just saved yourself 2 to 3 years of a dysfunctional relationship that nobody actually asked for, and you're just in a situationship then. But if you come back and you're like, I really miss this person, then you just realize to yourself, I really like that person. I really want to be with that person. And then you did not waste 2 or 3 years of your life. And then she comes back as well and she's like, I really miss you too. And then good, y'all are great. But if she's like, no, I don't feel the same way, you're going to get heartbroken. But that's just how it goes. That's what you need to do. If she leaves, it's fine. It's fine. If she comes back, you leave it alone. She'll come back to you. She'll naturally get attracted back to you if she wants to. If you let problems sit for too long, like I said before, like there's no problem that cannot be solved without just or that can shrink without just leaving it alone for a couple days. You're gonna be like, oh, cancer. Cancer is a touchy subject, depending on what cancer you have. And a cancerous tumor can heal on its own, but 9 times out of 10, it won't heal on its own. But it can heal on its own. Once the doctors poke it, it starts going everywhere. It's like, oh, the tumor became cancerous. We need to go ahead and start chemo. It's like, what the fuck are you doing, doctor? But those are like extreme problems that like you can't really like. You just need to leave it to the professionals. I'm talking about minimal problems, like example. Oh, my car won't start. Okay. So how are you going to fix the car yourself by worrying about it, by trying to fix it right now? You can't do nothing. You just got off work, your car stopped working, and now what can you do about it? Nothing. You're not a mechanic. You can't fix it. The only thing that you can do is go home. Rest on it. Call the mechanic. Hey man, my car's not working. Okay, I'll come take a look at it in the morning. You take a look at it. Leave the problem alone. Do whatever it is you were about to do. Go eat dinner. Go work out. You just got off of work. That's it. Problems somewhat semi-relieve themselves. Very, very good advice that I've learned over the years. Your body gets cut, it gets injured, it gets scratched, it bleeds, it gets sick. What do? Time heals all wounds. Even though that wounds become scar tissue, it still heals itself. You go through a massive breakup. Time will make you forget about that breakup and you won't hurt as much. So leave the problems alone and they won't be as big. Have you ever left a city that you know everything about, or you played a game that you really loved and you know everything about it? You leave it for a couple months and you come back to it, you're not going to recognize it. It's going to be totally different. And then you're going to have a different perspective on how you live life because you were in such a small bubble. But once you left, you kind of escaped the bubble and you're popping it once you come back in and you're making this new one that's a bit bigger than what you previously had. So make sure to explore new things, take a break from problems. When you can't solve something, you can always come back to it in just a little bit. So just chill out. And life will give you lemons. Life is like fine wine. It has to age. You just got to let it sit there. After you prepare it, you just let it sit. You can't keep thinking, oh, how can I make it better? How can I make it better? Just let it sit. Just let it sit and it will be better.